Someone can save every dollar they earn for 30 years and still end up poorer than someone who barely saves at all. That sounds impossible. It is not. The difference comes down to one word most people confuse with saving. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what that word is and why it changes everything. Here is the problem. Most people are taught that saving money is the finish line. Put money in an account, watch it grow, retire comfortably. That plan has a flaw most people never see coming. While your savings sit still, prices around you do not. The cost of everything you will ever buy keeps climbing quietly every single year. Stick around, because Section 3 explains exactly why your savings account is losing a race you did not even know you were running. Saving money means setting cash aside. Building wealth means making the cash grow faster than the cost of living rises around it. Think of saving like filling a bucket with water while the bucket has a slow leak at the bottom. You keep pouring water in, but the leak, inflation, drains it the entire time. Investing patches that leak and adds a second tap that fills the bucket on its own. Beginners misunderstand this because saving feels safe and investing feels risky. Saving alone carries its own hidden risk. It just moves slower, so it is harder to notice. 1. Saving. Saving is where control starts, but it is not where wealth ends. Saving means putting money aside for short-term needs and emergencies, kept somewhere safe and easy to access. It protects you from small shocks like a medical bill or a lost job for a few months. A 26-year-old office worker saved $50 a month in a regular bank account for 3 years. That cash was available the moment the car needed an unexpected repair, which is exactly what saving is meant to do. Saving works like a spare tire in a car. It gets you through an emergency. It does not get you to a new destination faster. Keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in accessible savings and treat anything beyond that as ready for a different job. 2. Investing. This is where a savings-only plan quietly starts falling behind, and most people never notice for years. Investing means putting money into assets like a stock market index fund, government bonds, mutual funds, or a small business, with the goal of growing that money faster than prices rise. It carries more short-term risk than saving, but it is the only path that historically outpaces the cost of living over the long run. Consider 2 people who each set aside $50 a month for 10 years. One keeps it in a regular savings account earning close to nothing after fees. The other invests it in a diversified index fund, averaging a reasonable annual return. The investor's balance can end up dramatically higher, not because they saved more, but because their money worked while they were not watching. Investing works like planting a tree instead of storing firewood. Firewood is useful today. A tree keeps producing value for decades. 3. Inflation. Here is the silent force working against every saver, all day, every day, without exception. Inflation is the gradual rise in prices over time, which means the same amount of money buys less next year than it does today. A loaf of bread, a bag of groceries, a bus fare, all of them tend to cost more with each passing year. If inflation averages around 6 to 8% a year, and your savings account pays you 2% interest, your money is technically losing purchasing power every single year, even though the number on your statement keeps going up. Inflation works like a slow leak in a tire you cannot see. The tire looks fine sitting in the garage. It only reveals the problem once you actually try to drive somewhere. 4. Wealth creation. This is the shift that separates people who stay comfortable from people who actually build wealth. Wealth creation means acquiring assets that grow in value or generate income over time, not just accumulating cash. A rental property, shares in a company, a small business, or an investment portfolio are all examples of assets working to build wealth. Maria, a small business owner, reinvested her profits into expanding her shop instead of only saving them in cash. 5 years later, her business itself had become a valuable asset, worth far more than the cash she would have accumulated by saving the same profits. Wealth creation works like turning a paycheck into a machine that produces more paychecks, instead of spending every paycheck the moment it arrives. 5. Passive income. This is the final piece, and it is the one most people chase without understanding what it actually requires first. Passive income is money earned with little ongoing effort, but it almost always requires active effort or capital upfront to build. Dividends from shares, interest from bonds, rental income, or royalties from created content are common examples. A 30-year-old who builds a diversified investment portfolio over 10 years can eventually reach a point where dividends and interest cover part of their monthly expenses without trading additional hours for that income. This does not happen overnight. It happens because saving funded investing outpaced inflation, and that combination created an asset base large enough to generate income on its own. Passive income works like a well that took real effort to dig. Once it is built, it keeps producing water with far less effort than the initial digging required. Action step: pick one passive income source that fits your current resources, whether it is dividend, paying shares, or a savings product with reinvested interest, and start learning how it works this month. Saving protects what you have today. Investing is what grows it faster than prices rise around you. Understanding inflation tells you why standing still is actually falling behind. Wealth creation is choosing assets over cash, and passive income is the reward that eventually comes from all four working together. Saving alone was never the finish line. It was only ever the starting point. If you want to get sharper with your money, subscribe to Finance Foresight. New videos come out to help you build real financial control, one habit at a time. Here is a question for the comments. Are you currently saving, investing, or both? If you want to go deeper on getting started with investing, watch our video on that right after this one.